Okay, let's get started. Trying to do assignment 3. This is the sector data downloaded, and all I've done is saved it and formatted the return column. So what I want to try to do here is get the Wednesday to Wednesday returns, and then get the covariance matrix from there, and also I'm going to add something. I want to get beta from there. So first we need to get Wednesday to Wednesday returns. So insert pivot table, click OK. I have the dates in the row. I have the tickers in the column. Oh, not perm number, returns in the values. There they all are. And I'm going to copy everything but that last row. Put it over here to a new sheet where I can work with it. Paste. Now I just want to format these in something that looks a little cleaner. And then I'm going to clean some of this up a little bit. So let's call this the date. And actually I'm going to put one row back. These are my returns right here. So I want to label those returns. But if I want to center it over all those rows, I can highlight, all those columns, excuse me, I can highlight all the columns, click merge and center, and click italics or bold. Same thing right here. I'm going to do underline and bold. Click right here to center everything. By the way, let me show you what I just did. This column is wider than I want it to be. If I double click right there, it's going to adjust the column to be the minimum width that shows everything that I want it to. I can adjust all of them at once by highlighting, coming over here, clicking, and now it sets a minimum width, still showing all 4 decimal places. I'm going to just copy this right here. Actually, copy it right there, and change returns to what I'll have next. I'm going to normalized prices. And I want to have the date. I'll keep the dates with me. And I might insert another, because I forgot to do this. So when I come up with the normalized prices, I can do a pivot table, and because there's a blank column there, it's easier to see the different things. It's easier for the pivot table to automatically select. So if I just say 1 plus that return, what is that telling me? Look at that, 98 cents. So if I invested $1 the day before this started, the dollar would go down 1.97% to 98 cents. So I can copy this all the way over. So had I invested $1 yesterday into these different sector spires, this would be the value of those different sector spires today. This is what I mean by a normalized price. I don't care what the actual price was, because I only care about my return. So I can start at any dollar amount. It's easiest to start at $1. So there's the price yesterday times 1 plus today's return, and that's the new price. And if I copy that all the way over and double click, it goes all the way down. Now I have all these normalized prices, and I can just format them the way I want. So now I need to do a pivot table. So insert another pivot table, and see, because the column is blank there, it's selecting exactly what I want it to select. And I forgot to do one thing, because I need to know what a Wednesday is. So let me get rid of this. I want to know weekday. So I can type equal weekday, open parentheses, select the day, and then select 2, and by selecting 2, that tells me start Monday with a 1. And I can just copy that all the way down. Those are going to be whole numbers, so I don't need any of the decimals. So I'll format that the following way. And I'm going to show you the VLOOKUP table Not that we need it here necessarily, but I just want to show it to you. So if I, 1, 2, it's actually faster to type 3, 4, 5, but just to show you, you do the 1 and the 2, you can drag that down to get 3, 4, 5. Then you have Monday. Now if you type Monday here, you drag it down, it's going to say, oh, you want to go all week? And yeah, that's what we want. So here, let's call this day. So we do VLOOKUP equal VLOOKUP. We want to look up this date in this table. We want to look in column 2. Let me put this in and I'll show it to you. So what this has done, it said, look at this number, which is a 2, and go to this table and look in that table, find the 2, then go over to the second column and print whatever's in that column, which is a Tuesday. Now you could have 3, 4, 5, however many columns. You would just tell it, instead of a 2 right here, you would tell it whatever column you want. Now if you copy this down, which a lot of people want to do, look what happens. What it's doing is the table is going down as well. You don't want the table to move, so I want to lock that table down. So I press F4 to lock down the W, F4 again to lock down the X, and now I can copy that down, and now I know the days of the week. Now insert pivot table. Okay, so if that goes away, you got to click on that pivot table, by the way. So I want to have, I want you to play with this. So look, if we put date right there and the weekday, let me select, I only want, I need day, I only want Wednesdays. So just select all, Wednesday, okay, drag that down, and look, that's kind of sloppy, right? It's it shows every Wednesday, it shows the actual date, but if I reverse the day and date there, then it says here are the Wednesdays. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. And then I want each one of these sectors, each one of the sector spiders, and there are all my returns. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to copy all this stuff over and work on it someplace else. Hang on just a second. Okay, so now we're back, right? I want to copy all this stuff over. So I have my dates, everything I need. So I do the copy. Let's go to a new sheet. And over here I want to do paste special. Because if I do, and then click values, because if I don't, it copies it as a pivot table. I don't want it to be a pivot table anymore. I want to work without the pivot table. So click as values, and now let me label some stuff. Delete. I don't need that. Delete. And this is going to be the date. Now look at those dates. I don't want to do that. 36,000, that is the Julian day count. So Excel stores every date as a number, and you can see those numbers here. Now if I format the cells back to date, you can see, for example, January 3rd, 2001 is actually 36,849. That's how Excel stores it. And let's put these things in a nice format. Double click here so everything's spread out. Now this is labeled now sum of, so you really want to go back through. I'm not going to take the time to do this and change this, to just XLB rather than sum of and all that stuff, but nonetheless, now I want to get my returns. So I could even do this. These are my prices. Get my cap locks right. and highlight all that, merge in center, copy this over, and now call this my weekly returns. And the weekly returns are just going to be ending divided by beginning minus 1. Copy that over, copy it down. Now I have a whole bunch of returns. And I want to do, I think I will, I'm going to retype these. I'll pause it while I do that. Okay, so now I have all my returns. I'm just going to insert, put the date next to it just so I can keep the date close by, purely just for visual there. I don't really need this, but I like to put this blank column there, make it smaller so there's a break between my returns and my prices. I can keep my days here. I might want to do something like click right here, go to view, freeze panes. Instead of the top row, just click freeze panes, and now if you page down you can see the returns, you can see the dates and all that. So what you'd want to do now, I want to get the covariance of all these. So we'll talk some in class about what you did in 4000 to get those covariances, but the easy way to do this, go to the Data tab, click Data Analysis, and these are in alphabetical order. There's covariance, click OK. Your input range, starting here, going all the way down. Now if you knew the last row, you could just type that in. So you could do control down and figure out what that last row is. But importantly, notice this last row is a grand total. You don't want those numbers in there, so you really probably should just delete that. We have labels in the first row, so we'll click labels in the first row. I can click where I want the output range. Rather than doing to a new worksheet, I'll click output range, click on the red, and let's see, where would I want that? Maybe I want to put it right here. Click OK. And here's my covariance matrix. Let me format that. And let's do the correlation matrix. So before we do that, just to clear things up, rather than paging down, you can do this maybe a little faster. We want to go down to 571, so remember we're going down to row 571 when we do this. So let's go to the Data tab, Data Analysis, Correlation Matrix, click OK, Input Range, all this, and we're going to go down to 571. Hope I remembered that right. My labels are in the first row. I want to choose an output range, and let me put the output, 571 is right. Let's see, let's put the output right here. Click OK. Let me slide over so you can see this, and let's just format that number, and we can name this covariance matrix. And rather than having it just sitting there, we can center it, do merge and center, bold, copy. The reason I copy this is faster, and I can just go in here and change covariance to correlation. And there's a covariance matrix and the correlation matrix. Pretty quick and simple. I said earlier I was going to do beta. I forgot to get the market, so since I have the market, I can't really do a beta. But we may do something similar to that on the test or something. Maybe that would be a good test question. So hopefully you got that. Any questions? Just email me or we'll talk Monday or Wednesday.